you'll be kind enough to allow...
Go! Galactic!
This young man.
That's right, everyone. I'm here with my review of Power Rangers Lost Galaxy. This was the 7th season of Power Rangers, and it was the first season to have a standalone cast every season, which is a tradition that still carries today. Well, with the exception of Samurai and Megaforce, because of stuff like that. But how good was Lost Galaxy? Well, sit back, relax, because we are about to go galactic. So, Lost Galaxy opens on the planet of Miranoi, where an old guy is very badly acting, talking about the story of the Quasar Sabers. 5 mystical sabers that have some kind of weird power that's not really explained, and all that. We then cut to Angel Grove, where the space colony Terra Venture is getting ready to take off. Among the people going to Terra Venture who have been chosen are Bulk and Professor Phenomenus, who later realized that they forgot Skull, who overslept. Well, there's a way to write off a long-running popular character, ain't it? Yeah. We then see a young man named Leo Corbett who does not have a passport to go onto Terra Venture. And he happens to see these guys mugging this old lady, so he stops that, gets her passport, gives it to her. And, all that. Leo eventually sneaks aboard Terra Venture and stows away on Terra Venture. Upon Terra Venture, he runs into the he runs into Kai Chin, who does something. I don't really know what Kai does on this ship. I don't think it's ever said what he does. If you know what he does, put it in the comment box. And he runs in, he's one of the ship's engineers, and he runs into Kendrix Morgan, who is the ship's technical advisor, which means she's a female Billy, because technical advisors, technical people are Billies. She's a female Billy, and Kendrix starts crushing on Leo immediately there. So, yeah. When asked if they've seen the stowaway, Kendrix protects Leo while Kai wants to turn him in. Eventually, Leo steals a uniform for a moon reconnaissance. Yes, there's air on the moon in the Power Ranger universe. As dumb as that sounds, there is air on the moon. And during this training exercise, a portal opens up to the planet that we just saw of Miranoi, where a villain named Furio is trying to get his hands on the Quasar Sabers. And during that time, a young girl named Maya comes through the portal and explains that she wants help. So Leo's brother Mike and Kendrix go with Maya to the portal. Leo is told to stay there, but he ends up going into the portal too, and that ends part 1. The start of part 2, Kai, after being told not to leave a man behind, finds the Astro Mega ship and knows it's a mega ship and wants it to fly, when we're introduced to the ship's mechanic Damon Henderson, who says that this ship is a museum and it won't fly. But they eventually get it flying, and they fly to Miranoi. On Miranoi, the 5 plus Leo fight off the foot soldiers of the season, the Stingwingers, giant insects. And then the 5 of them minus Leo pull out the 5 Quasar Sabers, which give them all the power. Leo doesn't get one though. Furio then, furious that he didn't get the Quasar Sabers, turns Miranoi to stone. So, as the Ranger fleeing, Mike gets caught in a crevice, and he gives his Quasar Saber to Leo. The Quasar Sabers then make Leo, Kai, Damon, Maya, and Kendrix the Galaxy Power Rangers. And the Ranger suits, basically, their torso looks like the shirt from looks like Charlie Brown's t-shirt, and it's really interesting there. So we progress. We find that the Zords for this season are the Galactabeasts, living beings that, with the help of the Transdaggers, can transform to the Galaxy Megazord. 6 episodes in, we are introduced to the Magna Defender, who essentially fills a 6 Ranger slot, and he has a 6-episode story arc that ends with the episode Redemption Day, where after sacrificing himself to save Terra Venture, he releases Mike's spirit or something which he had fused with, and eventually Mike becomes the new Magna Defender. Mike being back, though, causes Leo to question should he be the Red Ranger, since Mike was the one who pulled the Red Quasar Saber. This is a very interesting thing. I'll get to that in a little bit when I get to my Ranger thoughts. So, eventually, Deviant, who's a character we're introduced to, we're introduced to that, and he has his own 3 Zords: Centaur, Stratoforce, and the Zenith Charizord, which we later find out are the Rhino, Phoenix, and Shark Galactabeasts, which is why the Galaxy Megazord won't fight it. Upon getting control of those 3 Zords, Deviant devises a plan to get Scorpius, who is the main villain out of the way of the season right now, out of the way, by convincing him that the Rangers had kidnapped Trachina, and Scorpius, for being basically a giant bug, is very mobile on his feet, but Leo delivers a fatal blow that kills Scorpius. Now, at this time, Trachina is on some other planet, where she meets Villamax and Kegler. Villamax ends up a lot like Ecliptor, and I'll get to that later. And then, when Trachina finds out that the Rangers have killed Scorpius, she makes it her mission to destroy the Power Rangers, especially the Red Ranger. About 33 episodes or 35 episodes into the season, the Psycho Rangers return. As Deviant had gotten hold of their data cards and gave them to Trachina. And this begins the Power Ranger edition of the team-up episodes, official team-up episodes of full Ranger teams. Well, although the In-Space team isn't full in this team-up, but so, this prompts the Galaxy Rangers to team with the Space Rangers, and it's always nice to see this old team back that you grew to love from one season before. So, now you're probably wondering, there's no Black Ranger in Lost Galaxy, so who does Psycho Black fight? Well, Psycho Black faces Carlos and Damon, who served together as the Green Rangers in that case, and all that. The only thing is, Mike's totally out of use in this as Magna Defender because Zane's not there. I don't know why Zane's not there. It's never explained where Zane is. I guess Zane went back to KO-35 and joined that resistance movement or whatever. I really don't know. They destroy 4 of the Psychos with the exception of Psycho Pink. Psycho Pink collects Kendrix's data from her brain that she used in space. And Kendrix and Cassie go chasing her. This is the episode called The Power of Pink. Eventually, Cassie's morpher gets knocked off, and Psycho Pink makes a sword and rams into it, and the sword continues to grow, so I guess that's why Cloud's sword in Final Fantasy VII is so big, I guess, but it carries some kind of, I guess, power vortex. Kendrix does manage to free Cassie's morpher, but in the process dies, giving our first Ranger who has ever died in battle. Now, of course, the actor who played Kendrix came down with leukemia and had to leave the show to fix and fight the leukemia. So, that's sad, but it's sometimes the way things go. So, Kendrix's Quasar Saber then ends up on the planet Onyx, where it is sold at an auction to Astronema. But Astronema is actually Corone, Andros' sister from Lost Galaxy. After getting thrown off a cliff and saved by Kendrix's spirit, Corone takes over as the Pink Galaxy Ranger, which then means that for the first time ever, a former villain from the last season is now a Power Ranger now. But other things have to work first. For starters, Corone has to shed every evil deed she did as Astronema, and that It's on a very good episode called Facing the Past, in which Leo gets his battleizer too and becomes the red armored Power Ranger. Leo's battleizer is very interesting, except for the little, like, feet things. Except for, like, the feet things there that are on it. Looks like feet. The final story arc begins with Enter the Lost Galaxy, where Deviant reads the inscription to get to the Lost Galaxy, and we meet Captain Mutiny and the Swabbies. The Swabbies are and these guys are more pathetic than the Piranhatrons are, because they basically look like a kid designed a pirate costume for Halloween. Season comes to an end with Journey's End, which is a very good 3-part episode. That during the whole Lost Galaxy story arc, Mike sacrifices his powers to get everyone to the Lost Galaxy. He loses the Magna Defender power, and of course Toro Zord and all that. So, then it starts Journey's End, in which Trakina and Deviant merge, and Trakina becomes very, very psychotic. She basically makes all the Stingwingers suicide bombers and have them blow up everything, which causes the Power Rangers to lose Strataforce and Centaur Force. They also end up losing the Astro Mega ship when they ram it into the Scorpion Stinger. The final battle is, of course, Leo sacrificing his battleizer to defeat Trakina. And thus Leo's character comes full force because he's stowaway, and now he's the sole one saving the entire Terra Venture colony. With all that defeated, the Rangers put their Quasar Sabers back in the ground, back in the sword, and it releases Miranoi from its stony prison, and it somehow brings Kendrix back to life, and this is not explained how this is humanly possible. I still don't know. If anyone has a valid idea, put it in the description box. Put it in the comment box. So now, Bulk and Phenomenus are wasted because they're only in like 3 episodes of 45, so that's a waste of that. Leo is a very good Red Ranger, even though he does start out a little bit impulsive. And of course, he has that crisis of conscience when Mike comes back about Mike pulled the red Quasar Saber, so should Leo give up the Red Ranger power? But he became a very good Red Ranger. Kai started straight-laced and by the book, but became a very good Power Ranger too, because he started following his instincts. He started doing what a Ranger should do, and he started being selfless. Damon, character-wise, is the weakest, because we're never given a reason as to why Damon was chosen to be a Ranger anyway, other than he turned the Astro Mega ship around and helped Kai get to his friends. That's all that. Kendrix and Maya and Corona and later Corona and Maya are basically treated like the same way that every Pink and Yellow Ranger at this point have been. Inseparable best friends who always are together. Like I said, the Stingwingers, they're a step down from the Quantrons in terms of foot soldiers because they don't look like they were ever going to be a threat. Once Trakina became the main villain of the season, it really picked up in terms of villains. Villamax is a lot like Equipter from In Space, because they're both very noble, and in fact, the only reason Villamax even fights the Rangers is out of loyalty to Trakina, who Trakina later kills because he's a bit outspoken about that. So, yeah. And the theme song to In Space is by far one of the best Power Ranger. The theme song of Lost Galaxy is the best theme song in a while since the original Go-Go Power Rangers, because it sets it up, because, you know, it talks, you know, the far, far away, deep in space to a galaxy will go and all that stuff. So it's also got a very good beat. So I really enjoyed Lost Galaxy. So after being in space for 2 years, it's time to return to Earth. And that'll be next time when we call upon Lightspeed Rescue. See you then.
Thank you.